Prabhupada, Ram Sapravajapcharas, Taras Tatas Vrishimad, Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nata Kodi Vaishnav Vrindi Ki, Srimad Bhagavatam Kantaraj Ki. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are continuing on with chapter 5 from Canto 2, entitled Cause of All Causes, and today's text is number 38. Burloka Kalpita Padmyam Bhuvarloko Sya Nabita Marida Svarloka Urasa Maharloko Mahatmana Burloka Kalpita Padbyam Bhuvarloko Syanabita Nida Svarloka Urasa Maharloko Mahatmana. Boo. The lower planetary systems up to the stratum of the earth. Loka, the planets. Kalpita, it is so imagined or said. Padbyam, out of the legs. Bhuva, the upper. Loka, the planetary system. Asya, of him the Lord. Nabita, from the navel abdomen. Rida, by the heart. Sharloka, the planetary systems occupied by the demigods. Urasa, by the chest. Maharloka, the planetary system occupied by great sages and saints. Mahatmana, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Translation: the lower planetary systems up to the limit of the earthly stratum are said to be situated in his legs. The middle planetary systems, beginning from Bhuvarloka, are situated in his navel, and the still higher planetary systems occupied by the demigods and highly cultured sages and saints are situated in the chest of the Supreme Lord. Purport: there are 14 spheres of planetary systems within this universe. The lower systems are called Burloka, the middle systems are called Bhuvarloka, and the higher planetary systems up to Brahmaloka, the highest planetary system of the universe, are called Svarloka, and all of them are situated on the body of the Lord. In other words, no one within this universe is without a relationship with the Lord. Durgame parimendasya skalapate gatimuhu svakripa yuvstadanena shanta shanta valambanam om agyanatimirandasya jananjala slakaya chakshur militam yena tasmei I like quoting that sloka because it talks about how the cataracts are removed from the eyes and one's able to see the Lord. So if anybody of you who's probably haven't had one yet, but if anybody's had a cataract operation, you can understand the clarity of vision that you have after you have your cataract removed. It's rather awesome. So it reminds you of the power of the Lord. So we have a transitional verse here that we were talking about. Previous to that, we were talking about the Varna ashram, the system of structure of human society, and now we're talking, just mentioning here, the planetary systems within the universe, how they represent different parts of the body of this gigantic Virata Rupa, Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in his universal form. So subsequently from this, the description of the planets, we're going to talk about them in detail coming on from here. So what we have learned from the translation today in the purple by Srila Prabhupada, that there are 14 planetary systems. Now the key word here is system, that this implies that there is an order within the universe. It's not chaotic, it is orderly. So contrary to scientific explanations where there was a sort of chaotic Big Bang and somehow or other as an accident we are floating in this like vast universe, we have been given information about the creation of the universe here, and that our particular situation is that we're in the Bhu-mandala system, the earthly system. It says Bhu-mandala is up to the earthly planetary system, and below Bhu-mandala is the lower planetary system, and above is the higher planetary system, consisting of 14 different planetary systems. But from our perspective here, as we see out there, we look, we don't really see much, we just see a tiny little bit. Sometimes Prabhupada compares this vision that we have to that of a frog in a well, that we can only see within the limits of the well. So even if we sort of magnify our senses through massive telescopes, I have seen such a telescope once. I went to Dubbo and we looked and we could see Jupiter and we could see the moons of Jupiter, and then we focused on Saturn, we saw Saturn's rings out there. But, you know, like, that is sort of like really not much more information for us. So even with telescopes that magnified hundreds and thousands times greater than that, people are searching out. But what are they looking for? They're looking for life. But how do they see, you know, are we the only ones in this universe, or is there someone else? So they're thinking, well, is there oxygen, is there nitrogen? So we have life on the planet, we have air, we have water. But actually, no, that's not necessarily right, because they're making the assumption that because we breathe air and we need oxygen, we need water, that every other living entity in this whole universe needs it. Not correct, actually, because other planets, the living entities there may not have these gross material bodies that we have, made up of earth, fire, water, air and ether, right? Some of them mightn't have that earth or water element, right? Some might have fiery bodies. So if you have a fiery body, where can you live? You can live on the sun, right? You don't get burnt up, you don't get shriveled up. And as you go higher up the planetary systems, your body becomes lighter and lighter, and up at the highest planetary systems, demigods exist in their ethereal bodies. So whenever they used to come to this earth planet, if they want to make themselves visible to the human beings, they have to manifest some body by which they can become visible, because they're invisible to us. And so this is the nature of this universe, that we can only see so much through our earthly vision, because the bodies, our material objects that we have, our telescopes and microscopes, they're only an extension of our material vision. So they're not going to show us any other subtle levels of the universe. But as it's said here, there is upper planetary systems, and those planetary systems are much more desirable to be on, because we have longer life, we have greater facility for sense enjoyment, and there's no old age, there's no disease. And Sri Prabhupada talked about planet we call Swaloka, even planet of Lord Brahma. It's the highest planet there. We live for an immensely long time. But even though that seems to be more enjoyable, that is not the purpose of going to these planets, even though it's greater for the sense enjoyment. But there's a situation where it facilitates our understanding of who we really are in relationship to the Lord. So the key verse here, that the key word, the purport here, in other words, no one within the universe is without a relationship with the Lord. So that's the topic that we have to discuss. What is our relationship with Supreme Lord? This is the nature of human beings. Unfortunately, I'm going to go on the rant here, the nature of human population on the planet today is really to enjoy sense gratification. It's like a dream world situation where they want everything to be like on the planet of the demigods, even they don't know. They want facility, because they become enamored by their material bodies. And being in a frog in the well situation, not knowing anything, they're trying to extract some enjoyment. So Srila Prabhupada describes that in the Bhagavad Gita as apavarga, foaming at the mouth. It's quite an amazing word, apavarga, because I've been using it all my life in the Lithuanian language. The word pavarga means working hard. So apavarga is broken up in 5 syllables. It's means struggling very hard. Pa means fena, is foaming in the mouth, just like sometimes a donkey. You see a donkey struggling very hard with his load, and you see foam coming out of his mouth. And then the va is the there's the frustration that no matter how hard you're working, you're not attaining the goal that you really want. It's just somehow or other eluding you. And then the time keeps slipping by for the 4th one, va, and you're actually realizing that you become frustrated because you're not going to get to your goal, and the fear is coming in, the fear factor, what's going to happen. And Ma's finally the death factor. So that's what you've been fearing, the death. So apavarga. So this is the context of the modern civilization, that it is working so hard. I was talking with Ramai Maharaj previously. We were just discussing that when Ramai Maharaj was in the hospitality in the hospital. I say the hospitality, the hospital. Some of the nurses there that were looking after him had to work 2 shifts. Right? Just one was there and said, "Oh, can you work a 2nd shift?" So they work 16 hours a day. And that's not uncommon, that people go to work at 4 in the morning, have to drive to work in the city, an hour or 2 hours, and they come back like at 8 o'clock, at 9 o'clock at night, just in time for a meal, bit of television, have to go to work again 5 in the morning. Is that right? Yeah, that's what happens. So what's the purpose of that is that they want to have that enjoying propensity. That's a sort of carrot in front of a stick, that they have accumulate enough wealth, and they'll be able to enjoy. Or later on, if the senses are sort of failing them, there comes the fame, comes the adoration, comes the distinction, and it's just like then you leave a footstep. That was Maharaj, one of the Maharajas. Just got a memory blank here, but he said his father, he was giving a lecture, and he said that his father once said that the real goal of life is to leave a footstep behind so people remember you, right? So, well, that's you leave a footstep. So, unfortunately, these footsteps are very, very shallow, and they're not very much remembered by what you've done. You might last for a few years, and civilization just grows over you and steps over you. So civilization has become distracted. You see these distractions happening like you compare it to a child. I've been watching, you watch the children, and you give something to a toddler, and give him a nice toy, something to play with. Here, play with this toy. What's he do? He puts it to his mouth. He tastes it. First thing is does it taste okay? Because that's his first primary sense. He will put it in his mouth, and that's his limited sense perception. You have to try to explain to him, no, you put the toy down, you put this together, and you build this up like that, and you put it back in his mouth. So that's the fascination they have with objects. They're trying to inquire. So human beings have a bit of this, have this childlike mentality. I've just been observing that their fascination is gravity, actually. Gravity is here to keep us bound in this material world. It's just an element that is there, but people love to play with gravity. They like to enjoy, like skiing down slopes, flying through the air, parachuting out of aeroplanes, surfing down a wave. That's the gravity factor. You derive a great sense of enjoyment when you're sort of flying through the air. In Dream World, they have that machine. What's it called? It drops you down. It's called. It's just you.
Giant drop.
Huh?
Giant drop.
Yeah, something like that. It just sort of lets you go, and boom, down you go, right? And then your stomach rushes to your mouth, and you scream. And oh, that was fun, wasn't it? I had so much fun. Right. That is it. And the richer you are, the more you can play with that. I just brought this up because I just saw yesterday that the world's richest man, he's able to buy himself a spaceship. So he blasted himself out into space for an hour, right? So he can enjoy space out there. So, what an effort. It's just to expend so much energy to do that for a little short time. And even though he might be sort of fascinated by the view and the earth floating there, unless he understands that he's just an insignificant being in this whole picture of the universe, it's just another sort of waste of time. And it's just like another product that the scientists have created. So all along the way, we have science, that science has enabled him to go up there into space. So the accolades go to the scientists that they're making so much advancement. And this is what is guiding civilization. This is why Srila Prabhupada was so down on scientists. We pray, Namaste Saraswati Deva Gaurani Pacharane, it says a Sunyavadi, that we're trying to eliminate that impersonalism. And the thing about science is that there's no God and no rules. That's what they're trying to establish, because this universe was a big bang, and we will hoodwink you with our theories of the universe. So therefore, they're coming up with all these sort of conclusions to give you a picture of how the universe, an alternative picture to what is here in the Bhagavatam. And we've heard it all before. We've heard about the black holes, we've heard about the Death Stars, the galaxies far, far away with a bit of shining light, and there's a potential for human life out there, even though it's 25 million years away. So the scientists keep us feeding this information so we can stay on target in this misdirected civilization. And they're actually running out of things to say. The last one come up with, this is 5 days ago, because you've sort of got a 3-month cycle as scientists. So the last one is the ecliptic, I have to mention this is so good. It's the pyrotic theory, right? So this is the beauty, that it's not the Big Bang that caused the world, it was actually the big splat, right? That caused the universes. So how the big splat came about was that the universe, as we can see, is emptying out, that, you know, all the universe, all the stars getting wider and wider, they're all going away. And this universe is going to be empty. And similarly, there's another universe is emptying out too, and the two universes come together on diagonal planes, and they meet, and then there's another Big Bang theory, another Big Bang, and then the universe starts all over again. Right, so say, wow, yeah, fantastic. They get sort of a big bang for that, and it keeps on going. So this is the speculation of human beings. It's called ascending knowledge. It'll be there forever. They'll look at things and analyse things, but it's just like David Gaurahari Prabhu said, it's like if you're instead of looking at your destination, where you're headed, you just look at in your car, you look at the car manual to see how your car runs. They forgot about the destination. So really, when we look out here, we see the Milky Way, and let's actually describe Bhagavatam, this Milky Way, all these stars we see, it's the Susamara planetary system. Okay? And right in the middle, even though we can't see on this side, the universe is the pole star. Pole star, you can only see it in the northern hemisphere. And the whole universe revolves around the pole star. What's another name for the pole star? Anybody know? Thank you very much. Yeah, Dhruvalaka. Very nicely paying attention. So there are so many planets revolving around. So, and everything's as a system. When I went to that telescope in Dubbo, the guy pointed to this dark part of the universe, seeing nothing with the eye, and he said, "Oh, that's the jewel box." And we looked through the telescope, and you could just see the whole sky was just lit up with bright shining planets and suns or whatever. So just the dark corner of the universe. There is so much here in this universe, and it's all in a systematic fashion according to the 14 planetary systems. But for us, it is very, very difficult to perceive. What to speak, we've just heard about previously, about all the different universes, the thousands of universes. We're only one universe, but there are thousands of universes. The universes that are created compared to seeds in a Udambara fruit in the Garga Samhita. I tried to look up a Udambara fruit. Somebody from India might have seen it, I'm not quite sure. But it's described as a ficus racenosum. So I don't know, it might be a fig, but when you open it up, all these seeds just spill out of the fruit. They're just so abundant, full of seeds. So this is described as all the universes that are there in the one breath of Mahavishnu. So that is just a very, very humbling fact to know that the Lord is in every piece of the creation here, and this is just the Mahatattva, and it's only 1/4 approximately of his creation. So here it's said that the Lord is the overseer of everything. So you having that frog in the well philosophy, as human beings, we can't help it sometimes, and Srila Prabhupada once gave an example of that in Los Angeles that said that, we have these many, many universes, that even Lord Brahma became confused when he asked to see Krishna in Dwarka, and Krishna said, which Brahma is that? And for Brahma's benefit, he manifested all the other Brahmas that run all the different universes, and some of them had a magnificent amount of heads compared to Lord Brahma's 4 heads, and he was totally bewildered. So sometimes we become bewildered by our own importance, and Srila Prabhupada noted that once about one particular devotee. We won't mention any names. This is back in the 70s. He said there are so many universes, and within all these universes there's one universe, and within this one universe there are so many thousands and millions of planets. And within all these millions of planets we have this Earth planet here. And within this Earth planet there are so many people here. And within all the people we have this one city with so many million people here. And with this city of so many million people we have one temple here with one person who thinks he's so important. Thinks he's so important. So sometimes it is a very, very bewildering how this universe works. I would like to give an example of the structure of the universe in material, very, very material sense, is that of an ocean cruiser. These big monstrous boats have just turned up in the last 50 years. They did not exist in the last century virtually, but they're like floating cities, and so the purpose of them is to give enjoyment to people on many, many levels. Anybody can actually go there and enjoy on these boats, but it all depends upon your how rich you are. So these boats, below the deck you get a room with a porthole, right? So you can just see through the porthole. On the deck you've got a door and a window, and you can go out, and then gradually as you go higher and higher, sometimes these boats are like 10 stories high, till eventually you get to the top story and you've got the penthouse, you've got your own swimming pool, nobody else there to share it with you, and you've got fine food and valets, and there's a captain. There's thousands of people on the ship. Usually there was like 3,000-4,000 people on the ship with all the servants and everything, and there's a captain to the ship, and he's responsible to the makers, and the captain's responsible that all his stewards under him look after everybody, nobody's starved, right? Everybody's paid their money according to their status. And that is what's required to get onto that. You need money. That is the currency, money. So it doesn't matter, don't ask you where you got it from, who you are. If you've got the money, you can have wherever you want according to that status. And then you can enjoy 2 to 3 weeks of this cruising around the world, being pampered. And then when that's all over, you get off, and then you have to start working hard again to save up to go on another one. So that's it's similar, in one sense it's similar to the function of the universe, but on a much, much more grander scale, that we have these planetary systems, these myriads of planets within the universe, and we have how many demigods? 33 million demigods looking after the affairs of the universe. 33 million. Right? And each of these demigods is empowered, that they have special powers to be able to perform these functions. And then of course, as the planetary system gets higher, the time span changes, and people can learn to people who go to these places, the living entities that go to these places, live a very, very, very long time. That But the purpose, of course, is these people, they're on a different mission. They're not to enjoy the senses. They're there because of their goodness and piety, because that is the currency. So the currency in this system, this 14-planetary system, is piety. How we achieve the merits of our pious activities in this lifetime, and this is where we're awarded places on the planet, on the different planets. So in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 10, it says that Saha Jagya Prajashvishva Purvacha Prajapati Anena Prashavisadvam Esa Vostu Ishtakamaduk. In the beginning, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods along with sacrifice for Vishnu. Bless them by saying, be thou happy with the sacrifices, and perfection will bestow all desirable things upon you. So he sent forth generations of men into this universe, and demigods. Of course, the demigods are the people who are, the demigods are the beings who actually help administer, they're the administrators of the universe. And then he's giving the instruction, be happy by this sacrifice. So we have been discussing at length about the system of 4 divisions of, because there is a system, not only a system, planetary system, but there's a system for human beings to actually exist. And that system has been given to us as the 4 divisions of human society, like the head, the shoulders, the stomach and the legs. We've discussed that elaborately, like the Brahmins are the heads, the Kshatriyas are the shoulders, the Vaishyas are and Sudras the legs. So this is compared to the normal body. Srila Prabhupada talks about this in the last purport that we read yesterday, 37, that the normal body, it just survives by placing food into the mouth, and then it swallows the food, and the body digests the food, and the whole body becomes nourished. But to do that, you need the system. You need the arms, you need the shoulders to put the food in the mouth, and you need the legs to transport you to the places where it's needed. So similarly, this is the system, the Varna system in the world that the Lord has given us. It's like based on this, the 4 orders are based on this. So the head is the Brahmana. So just like you feed the mouth with food, so what is the food for the Brahmanas? It's the Vedic mantras, it's the hymns, and it's sacred fire. So when you give this to the Brahmanas, then by this process, Lord becomes happy, the Lord in the heart becomes happy, and everything is provided for. The demigods are provided for, and the universe functions very, very smoothly. And in this process, humanity becomes elevated onto the spiritual level. And that is the real purpose that we've been given the facility to enjoy here. But at this point in time, the Vedas, at any point in time, the Vedas give the explanation that further than the enjoyment comes the realization that we are on a spiritual path, and that we don't bounce up and down like we get off the boat cruise. Because the pious activities, don't matter how long we live, we may live for a very long time. If Lord Brahma lives a long time, but if he doesn't become God realized, he has to come back again and do it all over again. And it's very, very laborious to actually get back up to that sort of status, because in our human form we might have to perform so many different yagyas, like to attain some post that we want of a demigod. Like it said that you have to perform 100 Ashvamedas sacrifice to get the post of King Indra. To become Lord Brahma, you have to live how many lifetimes as a perfect grihasta? 1,000 lifetimes. Perfect grihasta, is it? Yeah. Brahmana. What?
100 lifetimes as a perfect Brahmana.
100 lifetimes as a perfect Brahmana. No mistakes. Can't make any mistakes. So it's a very laborious process. So therefore we. I was just going to also add the fact that with this process of Vedic sacrifices and giving oblations to the Brahmanas, we need the whole body to do that. We need all the administrative classes, just like we feed the body. This Prabhupada's talk about this in the last purport here. Just like we feed the body with food, to give Brahmanas the proper implements for sacrifice, we also need the arms, the legs. We need the administrators. We need the people who grow the grains and the fruit and the substances, and we need the people who actually cultivate the fields. So we need the whole four orders of society to provide the Brahmins. So the Brahmins are the head, so therefore it is their obligation to accept everything and to disseminate what is necessary in the way of knowledge for these people to elevate themselves by their activities, not only the higher planets but actually to the level of liberation. So it's a very, very drawn-out process. This is the Vedic injunctions that were given to us. So in Kali Yuga, it's not really, we can't imagine 100 years of a perfect life, or it's a very long time. So for us, because it's Manda Samanda Matayo, that we're very forgetful, very sort of lazy, not inclined to spiritual life by nature. So we have some concession. Kali Yuga, the age of quarrel, hypocrisy, not really meant for self-realization. This is for the other ages. So there is a concession. So everybody wants a concession. This is the thing about human nature, isn't it? So you want something and you say, can you make it cheaper? You want to get something, can you make it cheaper? And what's the answer? Yeah, we can give you a special discount. Right, so everybody wants that special concession, wants that discount. So in Kali Yuga we have the discount here. We have the marketplace of the holy name. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has made up, is singing us this lovely song, Nadia Godruma Dvipa Nityananda Mahajan Patyache Navahatta Jivarakalan. So its translation is that Nityananda Mahajan is mercifully opened up the marketplace for the welfare of these suffering souls in the age of Kali Yuga. In that marketplace, there's only one thing that is being traded, and that's the holy name, right? So, price. What's the price? Well, the price is Shraddha, faith. Faith in the holy name. So only those with that Shraddha, with the faith, can come to that marketplace, and then they can engage in buying and selling holy name. So buying and selling, you buy the holy name, you pass it on. So Lord Nityananda said, oh my brothers, by the Lord's command, I ask charity of you that you take Krishna's holy names, you chant, and you learn and teach about Krishna. This I ask of you. So give up all material attachments and make Krishna your life, and the rest of your life will be sublime in this Kali Yuga. So 3 words, Hare Krishna Rama. So that makes it, this is the bargain that we get in the age of Kali Yuga. And just to sum up, it's just like the 14 planetary systems are very nice, they're very fascinating, But just at the end of our life, if we understand that Krishna is the creator of all these planetary systems, just like, for example, we have the village down there, and the village people are very happy. They're doing their little yoga, and they're doing playing table tennis, and they're having great conversations about where they're going next and that, and it looks like it's a lot of fun. But we keep saying to them, hey, we created the village. You know, if it's so much fun, we'd be all down there, but we're up here discussing the Lord's pastime because there's much more nectar there. So the nectar is Krishna's holy names, and it way surpasses even the sort of pleasure that is available there in the planets of Lord Brahma. Even Lord Brahma's planet is just a fragment of the pleasure potency that's there in the impersonal Brahman realization. And in personal Brahman, it's just like a little footstep, a little drop of happiness in the footprint of a car compared to what we have, this ocean nectar in Kali Yuga. So we're definitely blessed and very lucky to be able to come across the holy names, and therefore in the vein of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, we just continue with the process of chanting Lord Krishna's names, and then ultimately all success will be achieved. Any questions or comments? Pertaining to the sloka, Ambarish?
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, go on.
I hope so.
Hang on, wait a second, we'll give you a microphone.
Let's have our question.
Here we go.
I was just wondering, after we die, does it take many lifetimes to go back to Krishna, Godhead, or does it
Prabhupada said,
get there in one life?
yeah, Prabhupada said you can go back immediately. It's like illumination. We're not, see, what we cannot perceive is that we are bound by gravity and the laws of nature, and that the Lord can come in an instant and we can leave in an instant. It's the spiritual nature of things. We're sort of bound up by lifetimes of time dimensions, but in the spiritual world there is none of that. It's just pure spiritual energy. So at the time of death, if it's said that if we chant Hare Krishna, death and illumination take place simultaneously, and we can be transferred straight back to the abode of the Lord. That is up to the will of the Lord, and it is the mercy of the spiritual master also that is very prominent in this action. Guru Kripa Prasadapaya.
I was thinking during the class, our Prabhupada was a question of sitting on an asana, that you think you're a very important person, first class person perhaps, you know. Prabhupada did say that I'm a fifth class man and I'm a servant of everyone. But he had that perspective. So how do we obtain a similar perspective?
Well, just follow the example. Prabhupada is the shiksha for everybody, so we follow footsteps of Srila Prabhupada. That's one way of doing it. There's many ways. It just sort of comes to mind. Someone's giving class before, might have been, I don't know where I heard that, sorry, but that when they were giving accolades, it's Krishna Rupa, of course, yeah, that when they were giving accolades to Srila Prabhupada, you know, you're preaching to the world and you're doing this and that. And after they finished giving their homage to Srila Prabhupada, he said, and so you become also. You know, so that's the humility of the spiritual master, that we're here to facilitate people's Krishna consciousness so we can all spread out. It's all teamwork, so we can all spread it out to the people there. It's misdirected civilization, so we have got our work to do, work cut out for us. So Prabhupada always said this, a measure of your love for me is how you cooperate with each other.
So we have to facilitate and give what we've got.
Yeah, the more we give, the more we receive. Sounds good. Rupa, last question. We've got 10 seconds left.
You were saying Pavaga in your mother tongue Lithuania means hard work.
Yeah.
So it's described like that, hard work, foaming, the frustration, fear and the death. So Apavaga means the opposite, like Krishna consciousness. So could you maybe give a quick description of the opposite to those?
No, actually Apavarga means that is the first syllable, you know. Just Lithuania left out the but it's the general root word is there. I'm too tired. Everybody, you know, like Pavarga means I'm tired. So in general, this civilization, because they're struggling so much, they're always tired, and they try to rejuvenate themselves with sense gratification, but it doesn't work because the body gets older and older and older. The more you say, well, I look forward to this, I look forward to that, gradually as if your time is running out, and as your time running out, then that last part of the apavarga, the fear factor starts to set in, that what is going to happen to me, because then you feel like you're so alone, the living entity, because we only have one real true friend. That's the super soul within the heart. Krishna's our eternal friend because he's with us life after life. Our wife, our children, that's just a phantasmagorial thing where we do have that attachment, and it's all very good that's there. But it's not going to actually help you at the time of death achieve the destination, can even drag you back. Right, so therefore that loneliness comes in. That's an inherent loneliness all of a sudden, that there's some, you're searching for that soul, but because the civilization hasn't actually led you in this direction, because it's the word misdirected, then you feel bewildered. That bewilderment comes. So when the devotee is approaching that point, the time of death, that bewilderment is not there because the goal is there, that all the time the devotee has been focused on the fact that Krishna is the creator, and that actually that union with Krishna is the ultimate benefit for for that person, that connection. It's all about the connection. Jai, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.